Welcome to From Head to Heart and Home. We are so excited to have you here today to listen in on this conversation. This is a channel created to empower women to take action in creating the life that they want, with your hosts, Carla Center, relationship coach, and myself, Shanda Soretti, certified transformational coach. So today, Carla, we are talking about something pretty juicy, which, we normally have amazing topics anyway, but this one is extra. And the topic of today, or the title for today, is The Moment of Victimhood, Understanding and Moving Beyond It. So we want to, first of all, dive into that juicy word, right? Victimhood. We kind of want to get in there, understand what that is. And then I want to introduce a topic, or sorry, a concept, which is what kind of inspired us about today's talk in the first place. And the the concept is that victim only happens in the moment. Like being a victim only happens in the moment. Okay. I'm going to leave it there. I know it's a big one, it's a juicy one, but let's first dive into what like being a victim means, right? So let's kind of educate ourselves a little bit here. Um, Carla, do you want me to start? Do you want to dive in?
You can go ahead and start. And if just that word triggers you, please make sure that you're somewhere where you can really process what we're saying,
Mm,
because it's super important that you're not triggered. You turn this off, you leave it, and you don't have any way to process what's going on for you.
yes. Beautiful, beautiful. Love that support. Very important. And we've talked about victimhood and victim mentality before on the podcast, but this is going to be a little bit different. And we're also going to give you some stuff at the end to help you process and maybe start creating some change work in your life too. So if you make it all the way to the end, I mean, this isn't going to be like a grueling thing. This is going to be very
No.
educational, insightful, and light, like we typically try to keep it. So let's just get right in and dive into it. So I did a little bit of research before this one because this is such a powerful topic. And what I found was that being the victim refers to experiencing harm, injustice, or suffering caused by someone or something that is outside of your control. Okay. So it's a real and valid state when something happens to you that negatively impacts your well-being, whether it's physically, emotionally, or mentally. Okay. So that's kind of like the definition that we'll go with. And again, I think it's really important to highlight the fact that valid state is in there because your experience was valid, right? So we're not discrediting anything, we're not taking anything like that away. Okay. Now, the important part to understand is that there are two aspects to being the victim. There's the circumstantial aspect, right, which is the actual factual experience of being wronged or harmed, whatever that experience was. And then the other side is the mindset or the identity piece. Okay. So, this is why the work that I do with clients is so powerful because there's three levels of transformation, and the identity piece is the deepest level that we work on, right? And so this is where transformation really lasts. So I'm going to pause there for a moment and get Carla to chime in and see if she wants to add anything so far.
Right. And the reason why identity is such a deep, impactful thing is because we have our brain is wired. And once we have this belief that we are a victim, even if it's not consciously, these behaviors follow us into other scenarios where they don't need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where things like you walk on eggshells around everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You did so because of behavior from somebody else, yet it comes into your everyday life. And it changes who you are, how you act and how you react. And so that's one of the reasons why we're bringing this forward, is because it can make such a huge impact on your life, and to move past it is incredibly changing and shifting for your
100%.
future and your
Yeah.
current.
Yes. 100%. And this is why I think we wanted to share this so much, because we've never actually taken this route before with the
Yeah.
mindset, with the identity. So typically with this piece is that this refers to like a perspective or a pattern, right? So this is the thinking where someone continues to see themselves as, whether it was like powerless or harmed, right? Even after something has already, like the event's already passed, it's already happened. So we're continuously seeing ourselves as powerless, right? As a victim. And that is where a lot of pain and unnecessary suffering comes into play. So
Right.
it can show up in a couple different ways, right? So reliving the past, repeating and replaying those things over in our head, which I'm telling you, with my own personal traumas as well, that was a huge one. It was like this tape that just kept playing over and over and over again. But it was through my own pushing the play button that the pain was happening through, right? Like it was through my own thoughts. The other one is blaming, and this one is a big one. And because this is what makes it seem livable, I think, right? Like when we can blame someone or have something to blame, somewhere we can like attribute this struggle to, kind of, it takes that weight off our shoulders in a sense. It doesn't make it any easier, but it gives us some sort of relief, right? And somewhere to point a finger to. Um, the other one, and I will totally admit this in full transparency, learned helplessness. So, what I mean by this is that feeling like you lack some sort of power, right? To change or improve a situation, and then using that kind of to your advantage. So I used to call it playing the card. And I used to play the card depending on the situation where it would work in my favor, right? And then the last one is seeking sympathy, right? So relying on other people to validate us or pity us in order to feel supported. So those are kind of four of the identity or mindset pieces that we wanted to share with you around this. Um, and again, you know, we want you guys to step into the idea that you're only a victim in that moment, and it's your thoughts that perpetuate the pain that you experience thereafter. So this doesn't validate anything that has happened. It doesn't make anything okay. We want to share this with you because there's so much power in understanding that we have a choice in all of this.
Right. Right. And once you're able to step back and look at what those learned behaviors are, I was very much the learned helplessness and also the victim of the things that happened to me as a child. Like
Mm.
that's mine. So anything that came up that I could attribute to that, that was because of this. Then I had no power. I had no power. And it was a choice. I didn't know it was a choice. And I see it with my clients all the time. And as you empower them and show people, and so as you realize, I do have power.
Mm.
Now, my person's been gone since I was 15 years old, but I continued to allow that power to be in his hands in my relationships, not only with men, but with any kind of authoritative, somebody above me. I can't think of the words. I'm not going to say it
Yes,
right.
you got it. You got
Anyway, authority figure. There
it.
it goes. Any authority figure. And so I had to take a look, and it is really hard to say, oh my gosh, I'm in victimhood. So I want to acknowledge to all of you, we are not saying it's not hard to go, oh
Mm.
my gosh, I have been playing this part, because then it feels like you are not validating the fact that something happened to you, but that is not the truth.
Hmm.
However, you can go, this has happened to me. I'm no longer going to allow it to control my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to add to something you just said because
Yeah.
we aren't sharing this information to shame you, guilt you, or blame you into anything. We're sharing
No.
this because we have both lived our own traumas and we have both healed from and through those traumas. So we want to use this to empower you to look at it differently. Maybe this is the first time you've ever heard anything like this, and it can be scary. Maybe this isn't the first time you've heard something like this, but you just haven't been ready up until now to hear this message the way that we're sharing it here today. So, like this concept, right? I'm going to say it again, that you are only a victim in that moment really stems from understanding that being a victim is tied to the present moment when the accident occurs, when the incident, sorry, not accident, it could be an accident, but when the thing happens. Okay.
Right.
And so there's like the in the moment, right? Which is when the event's unfolding and taking place. And this is the moment that you didn't choose. You didn't have control over what happened. So there's
Right.
no choice in that moment. It happened to you
Yes.
100%. Then there's the after the moment, right? So once the event is over, whether it was like physical, emotional, or mental. So that's in the past. And at this point, this
Right.
is the point in which you can step back into your power. You can make that choice, right? To move from being an active victim into someone who carries the memory or
Mhm.
aftermath of that event. Okay. So what defines your experience is how you process and respond to it, right?
Yes.
So are you repeatedly replaying the event over and over and over and holding on to that pain? Because, guys, we are so brilliant, right? Our brain uses things in the most inconceivable ways sometimes where it's never meaning to harm us or hurt us. It's always meaning to keep us safe. But sometimes what results is the opposite, right?
Right.
And then are you someone who has kind of started the process to release, to heal, and to regain that power to move past and beyond the victimhood? Okay. So the next like that next step, right? So the thing happened, and then as soon as that thing's concluded, there's the aftermath, the after moment. This is when we're like, are we holding on to it or are we going to process? Okay. And some of us hold on to things for years, for decades, forever. And some of us
Yes.
don't. And I think it's circumstantial. It depends on the person, it depends on the event. There's lots of different factors, and everything is valid and totally okay. Doesn't matter if you've been holding your thing for 50 years or 5 minutes. Okay. This applies to you. We're still talking to you here. Right.
Right.
So then the next step is reclaiming that power no matter where you are
Yes.
in your situation. Right.
Yeah.
So this happens with acknowledgement. Right. And that acknowledgement of what happens is essential, right?
Yes.
To shift. But so what you can do is I want you guys to write this down. What can I do now to heal, grow, and regain my strength? What do I need? Okay. This is a time to turn inward in a very healthy and strong way.
Yes. Yes. Yes, and realize that you can start noticing patterns and behaviors that you didn't notice before, and that's the point of it. The point of it is not to say this never happened to me, but to understand that for survival purposes, I have created some behaviors
Mhm.
and patterns that kept me safe in that moment that no longer support what I want in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. And this matters because when we hold on to this pain and we hold on to this story of being a victim, which you were in that moment, yes, right?
Yes.
But what happens when we hold on to that for the long term is that we prevent our own growth. We prevent our own healing, right? And we don't allow ourselves to get to the place where we can take back the control of our own life. And this limits your opportunity for joy, So if you feel numbed out and dull and like just like totally lacking joy and happiness, this might be it for you, right? It also damages your resilience. It impacts new experiences. Like Carla was saying, you bring it forward, you bring it with you into your life, into a lot of other situations that you might not even realize, right? And it keeps you tethered to the power of that circumstance and that situation. So
Yes.
whether it's a person or a thing or whatever it is, it keeps you tethered to that. It's like the worst kind of reminder. So think of like cutting the cord and letting that go, right? And again, from lived experience, this process we are trying to deliver this in a way that is very easy to understand and very sounds doable because it's doable,
Right.
but there does come a lot of work, right? And
Yes.
especially mentally and emotionally involved in this. So
Yes.
we're trying to deliver it in a very easy way, digestible way. But do know that, both Carla and I are here for support. If you need additional support, if you want some ideas, right? If you get stuck somewhere, then reach out to us. And again, this is what the one-on-one coaching with either one of us will help you through. It'll help you move past those stuck points and those challenges.
Right, because sometimes you also don't see the patterns I'm talking about. We don't always see our own. I mean, that's really some of the stuff that my clients, they're like, I never saw that, I never noticed that. And it helps you break through some of the things that you are like, I feel like I can't get past this. I don't know
Mhm.
why. I don't understand. I'm trying so hard and you feel like you're spinning your wheels. Well, there tends to be something that you don't notice that somebody else can notice, and it's about being open to listening on what they have to say and mulling it over and being like, huh, I wonder if this is true. And so
Mm.
sometimes that's where we want to hold it super tight because we want to protect ourselves. And that's one of the reasons why we're bringing it up is like, we're not saying that something isn't there for a reason. We
Mm.
understand, both of us, there has been a reason in the past for something to come up. And we want to support you when you are ready to look at it and move forward to create other patterns and other ways of thinking about different things to support where you want to go in your life, to
Yeah.
create the life you want.
Yeah. And something that I really want to offer everyone who's listening, and a beautiful reminder with for Carla and I too, like there's nothing wrong with you, right? There is nothing wrong with you. You are completely whole as you are. We feel broken, right? We feel shattered, but here's the truth. And it was Gabor Mate that said this, and it changed my life. It shook me to my core when I heard it. It was something along the lines of trauma is the instant where you can no longer endure the pain. The event is so painful that the only resolve that you can see is to disconnect from yourself. Okay. So there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You're simply disconnected. We want to plug you back in. We want to turn you back on. We want to flip that switch. And so this is the choice point, right? After the moment, after the instant, the choice point is that you have three. There might be more, but I want to touch on three. You can reframe the experience. Okay. And this, again, some of these things you might need more distance than others, right? You might need some time. If it's something that's fresh, you might not be able to engage in this right away, or maybe you can with support. Okay. But you want to ask yourself, what did this teach me? Right? How has this shaped me? For the better, even like, what can I take away from this? Okay, so reframing your experience. The second piece is always to seek support and help to take steps toward healing. So if you're coming up against blocks or hurdles or challenges, that is a flag to reach out. You can reach out to professionals, you can reach out to friends, family members, but people that you trust. Okay, people that you trust and that will be able to um, hold a loving and nurturing space for you to share your experience. And then the third piece would be writing um writing the narrative from one of helplessness to something more out of the lens of resilience. So instead of this thing was done to me, this is what I am taking away from it. Do you see the difference? It's very subtle, but it's very different, right? So helplessness, it was done to me. Resilience would be, this is what I want to take away from it, right? And again, you might need some distance. You might need to even just ponder on these reflection questions, but doing doing the work that's needed for you to move on, because you won't just move on without putting in action.
Right. Because you'll still continue to have the behaviors that you created to keep yourself safe.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think what I want to offer, I'm thinking now, I'm like, oh, I should have made a quick little PDF or something for everybody to kind of just download. And maybe I will do that and we'll add it in after. But like a 4-step process to shifting from victim to victor. Okay. We see that, or I do at least, I see that kind of a lot. And so I want to
Oh yeah.
offer, Carla and I want to offer you guys a very simple process. I am so about simple processes, simple, doable, easy. Okay. Easy
Right.
meaning you have the pieces you need and the support you need to help you through it. That's what I mean by easy. Okay. Step number 1, acknowledge the pain. Okay. Step number 2 is process and heal. So that's where you're seeking support. Okay. And this is going to depend on where you're at right now while you're going through this thing, whether you need counseling, therapy, you just want to talk to a friend, or you want to hire a coach. It really depends on where you're at. Okay. The third one is reframing your story. So again, I said it just a few seconds ago, but shifting out of this happened to me and into this happened, but here's how I want to grow and heal. Okay.
Right.
And then the fourth one is reclaiming your power. And this is focusing on, and guys, this is huge. This is everything. Focusing on what you can control now and how you can move forward and letting go of the rest, because it's the rest that will drive you insane.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And the rest is where you give your power away. But if
Right.
you are really focused on that control, like Shanda's talking about, what can I control?
Yeah.
You can empower yourself
Mm.
and you will see drastic changes when you get to that place where you're like, okay, I don't have control of this, but I do of these. And these are the places that I'm going to put my focus because I'm creating my life
Hmm.
and I get to
Yeah.
choose that.
And you deserve it,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
We all deserve to heal from our wounds, to heal from our traumas. None of us need to sit in that and carry that with us for the rest of our lives, right? And it does take the work and it does take effort, and it's always worth it in my experience. Yeah, beautiful.
Absolutely.
Well, Carla, do you have anything else that you want to add or offer in today's conversation?
I don't, besides to remind you all that to have love and compassion for yourselves while you do this. And
Mhm.
that's, where we're coming from, to have love and compassion towards you, to support you in moving forward so that these things no longer feel like they control your life.
That's right. Yeah, beautiful. I love that. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today with Carla and I. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure that you share this with other people. This is a big topic. I also believe that this is something that's not talked about enough. So please share this with someone you know who might be going through painful experiences or just stuck in their past. Okay. Be sure to click the subscribe button if you have not yet, so that you get all of our notifications and when new episodes come out. And then, last but not least, please be sure to join us next week for another authentic, connected conversation. We are so thrilled to be able to bring these important conversations to you. So, until next time, have a great one. Bye, everyone.